Today, on the 18th of October 2021, I would like to discuss two incidents that came to my notice today morning. These two incidents, one of them happened in Bangladesh and the second one happened in Kashmir. Actually, these are not two incidents, they are a part of a series of incidents, a systemic violence reported in Bangladesh and in Kashmir. We'll first see the incident regarding Bangladesh. To understand what exactly happened and to get the correct perspective from which these incidents have to be seen, let us go back in history and understand what Bangladesh stands for. Bangladesh is actually East Bengal. The Bengal province during the British rule of India was divided into West Bengal and East Bengal during partition, and the West Bengal remained as a state of India and the East Bengal became East Pakistan. Because Pakistan on the west of India, that is called West Pakistan, and the present Bangladesh was East Pakistan. Just because East Pakistan was geographically separate from West Pakistan and East Pakistan comprised mostly of the Bengalis, West Pakistan never treated East Pakistan as equal. East Pakistan Muslims were not equals to West Pakistan Muslims. The citizens of East Pakistan were considered inferior somehow. We can't understand the logic here, but Pakistan thought so. As the differences persisted and tension escalated, there was exodus of Bangladeshi citizens into West Bengal state of India, and that was continuing for over a period of time. Then in 1970-71 period, elections were held in East Pakistan, but the result was not in favor of the West Pakistan government. So Pakistan refused to recognize the elections and its results and took East Pakistan into military control. So this was opposed and a lot of rioting, protests and arrests took place all over East Pakistan. So the refugees coming from East Pakistan became too high for India to manage, and consequently India had to go to war with Pakistan to liberate East Pakistan from West Pakistan. So India waged a complete war with a country to liberate another country and make the allow the formation of a new country. The East Pakistan became Bangladesh. So Bangladesh actually as a country owes its existence, its very existence, its independence, its sovereignty to India. And this Bangladesh surprisingly is anti-India. The consecutive governments of Bangladesh have always practiced anti-India policies, and they keep smuggling illegal arms, drugs, ammunition and terrorists into India through the Indo-Bangla border. So that is Bangladesh in a nutshell. So in Bangladesh, Muslim population is the majority population. Obviously, because of the Muslim majority population only, it became Pakistan, East Pakistan, then Bangladesh. So you can see the table here it is started from 1901, where Hindu population was around 33% with 66% Muslim population. By the time of Indian independence, by the time East Pakistan was created around 1947, the census was 1951 census. The Hindu population dropped to 22%. It is now 76.9% Muslim population and 22% Hindu population. Now see the census. By the time Bangladesh was formed, it was in 1971. So we have to take the 1974 census. Muslim population was 85.4 and Hindu population was 13.5. In the period of independence, after post-independence, till the formation of Bangladesh, during the time it was East Pakistan, Hindu population dwindled rapidly from like 22% to 13%. It's almost half. So how did this happen in East Pakistan? Even in the time of East Pakistan, there were continuing attacks on Hindu religious places, and Hindus were continuing to come into India as refugees. So this was continuing over a period of time. And during the 1971 turbulence times, when Indo-Pakistan war and oppression by West Pakistan on East Pakistan, so many lakhs of Hindus were murdered in the riots which targeted the Hindu population. thousands of Hindu women were raped, and the atrocities are unspeakable. So that led to Hindu population getting dwindled, as they were either killed or they had to run away from Bangladesh to India. And now from 1974, if you compare to 2011, in 1974 Hindu population was 13.5%. In 2011 it is 8.5%. Again it dwindled so rapidly over this period after Bangladesh was formed, with continuing attacks against minorities in Bangladesh. See, this is what happens when minorities do not have rights. Minorities are continuously attacked, and minorities persecution goes on unabated, sometimes aided by the state. In comparison, minority population in India increased over this period. So that shows how minorities enjoy special privileges, rights, freedom to practice their religion or faith or belief, whatever, and propagate their religion. So India is one of the safest countries in the world where minority population is respected, protected, and encouraged. So next time you hear about any humanitarian index or human rights index or something like that, where India is ranked lower than Pakistan and Bangladesh, you will know it is pure bullshit. So we'll see what happened now that triggered this debate actually. During the recent Navaratris, many Durga pandals across Bangladesh were attacked, vandalized, burnt, and the devotees attacked. The state police were either mute spectators to this violence, or the post-violence investigation and arrest of the perpetrators were a mere whitewash. And what surprises is this news: after vandalizing Durga Puja pandals, radical Islamists launch anti-India protest in Dhaka, clash with police. I simply don't understand this. So these people belonging to the majority religion, that is Muslim religion, attack minority places of worship, vandalize them, destroy them, and then come on to the streets protesting against India. What did India do to them, and what was the reason of their vandalizing this, and how dare they come on to the streets after vandalizing? And what were the police doing? Absolutely nothing. This was the horrible state of events in Bangladesh over the past few weeks, and yesterday it reached an unimaginable low. ISKCON temple in Bangladesh was attacked by around a 300 people mob coming with weapons, swords, machetes or whatever, and it was like a reign of terror, a dance of death inside ISKCON temple. So the temple was attacked, the surrounding Hindu homes were attacked, the temple was vandalized, the chariot, the vehicles around the temple were all burnt down, and the Hindu homes around the temple were also destroyed. In the news till now, at least one person, one of the devotees attending ISKCON temple was killed, and one young sannyasi at the ISKCON is a member of ISKCON. His dead body was found floating in a pond near the temple. He was brutally murdered by the mob. If this was not enough, what happened next during the attack that came to light later on was an event reported by ISKCON Kolkata branch, pleading the international community to act upon immediately. So this attack on ISKCON temple and the neighboring homes was accompanied by an attack on a Hindu home where all the members of the family were raped. If a woman is raped, that is the biggest crime against womanhood, and that is the rape of entire family morally and psychologically, because the whole family suffers and suffers forever. And this, when a whole family is raped in their own home, and this family includes a 10-year-old girl, she was also raped. So actually I'm at a loss of words to describe this incident. What can you call this, and how can you explain this? Where are we in 21st century? Where is humanity? What does religion teach? Any religion, whether it is Hindu or Muslim or Buddhist or Christianity or whatever, what kind of teachings, what kind of ideology, what kind of thought process, what kind of upbringing result in human beings behaving like this, raping an entire family, including a 10-year-old girl? What is the sin that 10-year-old girl committed? Just being born in a Hindu home in Bangladesh, in a Hindu home in a majority Muslim nation. Is that a crime? Is that a sin that deserves such a brutal and horrible punishment? Um, there are no words in language actually to describe the ghastliness of this attack or the stupidity of this action. When this was reported initially, it was met with disbelief, because how can a human being do, or a group of human beings do such things? But then a media channel in Bangladesh also reported the same, lending authenticity to what happened. The intention here of the violent perpetrators is to terrorize a community, a religious community, into subjugation, surrender, or escape, exodus, to leave their country and settle in some other country, to run away from them. This is not a new strategy. It has been the strategy of many invaders who attacked India and destroyed our religious places, destroyed kingdoms, and unleashed a reign of terror over anyone who doesn't belong to their community, their ideology, or their faith. But it has been a few centuries ago. It is very astonishing and unbelievable that in 21st century still these techniques continue, this ideology, this methodology continues. Hope international community acts swiftly and strongly against Bangladesh, and Bangladesh hand is forced into punishing the perpetrators. After facing such unspeakable horror, definitely other members of the community, other Hindus will be inclined to leave Bangladesh to enter India, and that's why CAA was needed. Citizen Amendment Act. We have seen great protests against CAA in the past years, when the BJP government brought in the CAA to allow such minorities from Muslim dominated countries to attain citizenship in India, to not remain as refugees but become Indian citizens and start their lives afresh in our country. So this is like giving them shelter and allowing them to live normal lives, earn normal livelihood, and become a contributing member of India's civil society. This was opposed tooth and nail by many members, intellectual organizations, and many political parties. Congress opposed it vehemently, and all Congress chief ministers said they will not implement CAA into their states. They will not allow implementation of CAA into their states. One of them was Amarinder Singh of Punjab. Captain Amarinder Singh is a Congress chief minister, ex-chief minister now, recently resigned. So he opposed it. Then there were events of persecution of Sikh population in Pakistan. So Sikhs comprise a minority in Pakistan's Muslim majority community, and the Sikhs were persecuted. Many were killed. So they wanted to come to India as refugees. Then Amarinder Singh requested the center to grant them citizenship. So when it comes to us, when it comes to haunt our own community, our own state, our own people, our own relatives, then we need such act. But for others, we don't support CAA. So that's the strategy of Indian politicians. And this incident and these incidents like these show why CAA is necessary. People who oppose CAA say Any person coming from other countries need to be given citizenship if they are given citizenship, and discrimination cannot be made on religion. India, Pakistan and Bangladesh were born as a country post-independent from after British rule. Post-independent India and Pakistan, Bangladesh were formed on religious basis. The partition was on religious basis. The persecution was on religious basis. The refugees coming are because of religious basis. So why can't there be an act to provide them citizenship on religious basis? We need to support our brothers and sisters who are fleeing such intolerable, inhuman persecution. So now let's turn to our own country, Jammu and Kashmir. This violence which we discussed happened in our own country too, in Jammu and Kashmir. In Jammu and Kashmir, Hindu people, Kashmiri Pandits, also faced this brunt. They were also murdered, thrown away from their own homes, raped, brutally murdered, tortured and killed, and the entire community had to flee Jammu and Kashmir, making it a Muslim majority region. It was Muslim majority to start with, it became more a Muslim majority nation, a Muslim majority state. So this policy of persecution based on religion, of murders based on religion, of rapes based on religion happened in Jammu and Kashmir, and people had to flee Jammu and Kashmir. Now, after BJP government abrogated Article 370 that gave Jammu and Kashmir special status, gave it special rights, a special constitution, laws enacted by the Parliament of India need not be applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. All these were there because of Article 370. After Article 370 was abrogated and Kashmir was finally integrated, Jammu and Kashmir was finally integrated into India, so that any person, any Indian citizen can go to Jammu and Kashmir and earn his livelihood there, and any citizen from Jammu and Kashmir can come all over India to earn their livelihood here. So Jammu and Kashmir is not like any other state in India. So this was opposed vehemently by many intellectuals and many parties. Again, this led to heated debate in Parliament. So finally, Article 370 went away, and attempts were made to actually restore normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir, to actually integrate it. On paper, integration is different, and actual integration is entirely a different ballgame. So attempts were made to integrate it into India. So people from many parts of India went to Jammu and Kashmir, started working on projects there, or building roads, earning their livelihood and all these things. So these incidents happened. Militant shoot two dead two non-locals in Kashmir. So this is a series of violence happening in Kashmir, in our own country. So these militants or terrorists or whoever they are going on a rampage, shooting people who settled down in Kashmir coming from somewhere else. So whom did they shoot? Someone selling pani puri, someone selling sweets, someone working as a migrant labor, and such people. These are not single isolated events. They are a series of events happening at different localities in Kashmir, aimed with a similar aim, like what is happening in Bangladesh. Make Kashmir a deadly zone for non-Kashmiris. But to dissuade them from coming to settle down in Kashmir, to stop any attempts at changing the demography of Kashmir. Demography is the percentage of ethnic groups, different ethnic groups residing in Kashmir. So it is a Muslim majority, and they want to keep it as a Muslim majority. That's why this comment came. Why there is no religion mentioned as two Hindus killed? When Muslims are killed, news channels make Muslim in bold. This was one of the readers' comments to the previous news. So all those who were killed in these terror incidents, one by one, everyone is Hindu. But no media channel mentioned 2 Hindus killed, 3 Hindus killed, 1 Hindu killed. It was all non-locals killed, pani puri wala killed, sweet wala killed, that's all. So when the same happened to Muslims in any part of the country, the Muslim is written as first thing. A Muslim vendor was killed. in BJP ruled India, and it is taken up by all international media. Minorities are not safe in India, minorities are persecuted in India. This goes on. Whether the death was because of Hindu-Muslim clash or it was different clash, or that comes later in investigation. By the time, people would have forgotten to follow the news of that particular news item. So it remains in the people's minds that somewhere in India Muslims are being killed. So that is the projection of Indian media and picked up by international media. If media really doesn't want to escalate the communal tensions between Hindus and Muslims and not reporting as Hindus killed, I appreciate that very much. But when Muslims were also killed, it should also report the same. It is double strategy. For if a Muslim is killed, the projection, the reporting is entirely different. If a Hindu is killed, the reporting is entirely different. So that is the bigotry, the two-tongued approach of our media and our political leaders. And another surprising thing here is two people condemned this violence. One is Mehbooba Mufti and the other is Omar Abdullah. During the discussion on Article 370, on abrogation of Article 370 in Parliament, almost every member commented that the existence of Article 370 only feeds two dynasties, one the Muftis and two the Abdullahs. These Muftis and Abdullahs were in power in Kashmir since the time of its inception. The power is being passed from generation to generation, and they have not allowed any other person to come into power. So existence of Article 370 is their daily bread and butter. Prime Minister Modi himself said that abrogation of Article 370, because of that, inki roji roti chali jayega. So their bread and butter will go off. The dynamic MP of Ladakh also said, he was Sering Namgyal, I think. He was also saying, as long as Ladakh was with Jammu and Kashmir and Article 370 was there over these decades, post-independent India, in all these decades, whatever funds that came to Kashmir went to only two political families, the Abdullahs and the Muftis. They didn't reach the common public. They survived on this special status, on the funds allocation, on exemption from questioning by Indian government authorities. As long as Kashmir is not integrated into India, as long as the demography is not changed, these two dynasties will continue to remain in power. So any change from the status quo harms their power position. That's why they vehemently opposed any even touching Article 370. So once the Article 370 is gone, the demography is changing and these two people can't tolerate it. I seriously think if these two people have a role in the present anti-Hindu violence going on in Kashmir, the brutal violence that was previously unleashed against Kashmiri Hindus that led to their exodus from Kashmir and changed the demography of Kashmir, and the brutal violence happening in Bangladesh against Hindus should not happen anywhere to any members of any community. International organizations, the Indian government should take strong and stringent measures to prevent such violence and give freedom for any Indian citizen, irrespective of religion, caste, or creed, to settle anywhere and earn his livelihood. Save Hindus, save Hinduism. We Hindus have to stay united and oppose any such actions that lead to any violence against Hindus or Hinduism. Jai Hind. Om Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha.